Hello, welcome to Dry Creek Beekeeping. So, as you may remember, last week I was planning on putting the formic acid strips in my Alpha Hive. However, I wasn't able to since the inner cover was sitting too close to the frames to fit the formic acid strips in. So, in the past week, I have made this, which is going to keep the inner cover off of the frames. And once again, you may notice that I don't have my smoker, and that's because this is going to be a shorter video since all I'm doing is putting the formic acid strips in. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of them. I can tell that they're already a little bit mad, and don't really blame them. It's getting to be that time of year where they get to being extremely protective of their honey stores. Based on what I saw last week, their honey stores are doing very well. So you can see on the inner cover, it was sitting so close to the frames that they started not only putting propolis between them, but also building out combs to fill it up. So just kind of looking down between these frames, because I don't want to take any of them out, I can see that it looks like they're all full of capped honey, so that's good. Also, the reason that none of the bees are flying around or making too much noise right now is because it is about 5 minutes before sunset, and at this time the bees won't actually fly around. In fact, once the sun goes down, then I'm going to want to be out of here so that the bees don't stay on my clothes, and then when I get back up to the garage, I have a bunch of bees on my suit. Alright, so putting this down here. Now, this little thing here is probably going to become a permanent addition to this hive to keep them from having ventilation problems in the winter, which would happen if I had the inner cover too close to the frames. Also, with this hive, I'm going to be doing a different treatment method from what I did with my beta hive. And this is because of a video that I recently watched. It was a very good video, very informative, and it talked about some things that I had never even thought of, like having gentler treatment options for hives with less Varroa mites, and also checking for Varroa mites about 1 month after the treatment is over to make sure that all the Varroa mites are gone. If you want to check out that video, here it is, and the link to that video will be in the description. It is a really good video. I recommend watching it, and go subscribe to the person who made this video's channel, too. Yep, these are definitely formic acid strips. I can smell them. You can see because of the smell, the bees are starting to go down. And also, one piece of advice, do not do this on days where the air is stale, because the entire area now smells brutally like formic acid. On here, it says that the less brutal method for this is first strip for 10 days, remove and replace with a second strip for an additional 10 days. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to leave this one here for 10 days, put this one back in the package, then I will come back in 10 days, take this out, and replace it with the other one. One last thing that I want to do today is put the entrance reducer in, and that's just because as it's getting towards the winter, I'm going to want to make sure that my hive stays warm and that robber bees aren't getting into the hive. Alright, so when you're doing this, you're going to want this part to be either up or down. It doesn't really matter. I prefer to put it down. And the reason why there's this smaller one here is because that one's for winter. So when it comes time for putting the hive into hibernation, then this one is going to be the one that the bees can enter and exit through. Not that they're going to be doing that very much to the winter anyway. So now, while you can push this all the way under this, I'm not going to do that because it's a plenty snug fit here, and also I might want to remove this at a later date depending on what the weather turns out to be. So to recap what I did with this hive, all I really did was put a thing between the inner cover and the frames to keep the formic acid strip from being too crushed between the frames and the inner cover. I also put the formic acid strip in, and I'm doing it on a 10-day system, so 10 days for the first strip, 10 days for the second strip. Now, chances are, for the next month, all of my videos are really going to be about preparing my hives for the winter, since right now it seems like the temperature is finally starting to drop. In fact, I think today was the last truly summer-like day. And once again, go check out that video that I mentioned. It is really good. Again, link to that is in the description. Well, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, if you have any questions or comments about beekeeping, please be sure to put them in the comments. See ya!